Jeremy Cooper from Challenger, formerly, foreverly of the Cooper Review. Thanks for joining us.
My pleasure.
How is life in the post-Cooper Review glow? Is it still burning quite hot for you?
Seems to be. I'm heading over to Scotland in a few weeks' time to do more Cooper for them, because the UK industry is quite a bit different from ours, but there are some similarities, including the fact that they've got around about 35,000 defined contribution schemes. We've got 350 odd.
35,000?
Yeah, some tiny little ones, and so one of their big themes is, one of our big themes in the Cooper Review was this scale thing. You know, how big does a super fund be? What's the optimal kind of size, and how many of them would you want? So they've got a big scale problem, and they want me to come over there and sort of talk them through how all that works.
Were you happy with the reaction to the Cooper Review? I mean, like, obviously you do the review, you get your findings, you present them. Was it received in the way that you would have hoped or liked? Or
yeah, look, I'd have to be pretty happy with it. I think there were 179 recommendations, I seem to recall, and the government said they supported exactly 75% of them.
So you left you put that behind you and moved back into corporate life with Challenger, and now annuities are the new go for you.
Yeah, I suppose my role is in the retirement income space, and indeed during the Cooper Review, one of the big areas where we recommended some fairly major changes was not so much in the accumulation piece, but in the retirement phase. And so what I've been able to do is go back to the corporate sector and work in that area where I think a lot of development and legislative change probably still needs to occur.
Challenger have got some fairly robust advertising. Robust would be fair.
Well, people don't talk about risk. It's been very popular to characterise retirement as being, two people walking along a beach with a Labrador.
That's what it is. I've seen the other ads for AMP.
Indeed. But you talk to people. If you started a conversation up on a suburban train or wherever, that hasn't actually been how a lot of people have, particularly people who retired, in say the last 5 years. That's not exactly how they've felt, and not how a lot of people who are approaching retirement feel. And Challenger is basically saying, look, we don't want to revolutionise the world, but think about part of your savings, part of your retirement savings, being put into a sort of a bedrock income, a private pension sort of product that can sort of top up the pretty modest level of the age pension. Let's face it, to give you a sort of a fortnightly paycheck, if you like, which is what we've all done in our working lives. We get a paycheck, and in retirement, the idea is that a private insurance company could give you that sort of a top-up, and then with your other assets, of course, you need to be exposed to to the share market and other more risky assets.
How's the reaction from the Smurfs, as I know you like to call them?
Well, the Smurfs are an interesting market because they're very individualistic.
But that's the point, isn't it?
It is, and they tend often not to think about they're relatively conservative investors. They like to stay fairly highly invested in cash and blue chip equities and that kind of thing. They tend to not think about the insurance side of the equation. So they tend to underinsure for life insurance, and we're also saying that they're perhaps not aware of the longevity risk, that is the risk of actually outliving your savings. And typically a Smurf has a husband and a wife. We know that the wives on average will outlive the men by a few years. And we think a lot of the guys, that the typical model is that the male partner runs the Smurf. We think a lot of them are not thinking about this longevity risk as you sort of get later in life.
Yeah, when they die, the world dies. It's game over. That's it.
So the female partner gets left with all these sort of decisions to make, and quite late in life, that's potentially a risk that not a lot of people are thinking about. So it's a matter of educating people, explaining what the issues are, and sort of leading them to the conclusions. And we're certainly not talking about totally annuitising. It's a matter of what's the right proportion of your overall asset pool ought you to be thinking about sort of locking up into that secure income.
And that looks like being the great memory of SPAA this year and last year is about just pushing education, isn't it?
Yep, it's a big part of it. Yeah, I think there's no question. It was another one of our recommendations during the review was that there ought to be more sort of general information available to Smurf members.
And easier to understand.
That's the trick. Sometimes it's not, but boiling things down to simple propositions is the way to go.
Good on you, Jeremy. Thanks for your time.
My pleasure.